What's going on, guys? Andrew Piluk Hockey here, back with another video, and today I'm going to be discussing a trade between the LA Kings and the Pittsburgh Penguins. Now, we've seen this morning Jim Rutherford was extended by the Pittsburgh Penguins for another 3 years, and it's been discussed over the last week that the Penguins were looking to make a move. They were trying to make some changes, and we all know that Jim Rutherford is not afraid to make a move, and that move happened today. So, the trade is Tanner Pearson going from the LA Kings to the Pittsburgh Penguins, and the Penguins sending Carl Hagelin over to the LA Kings. Now, some things to note here. Cap Friendly has posted that the Penguins are retaining 6.25 of Hagelin's contract, so that means it was like, what, $250,000, something like that. So now both players in the deal are at a $3.75 million cap hit. So no real dollars will change on the cap. I know both teams are using the LTIR. I think the Penguins are using it to more of an extent. I'm not sure how certain moves will have to be made once the players come back. But for now, this deal kind of makes sense. So both teams have been struggling. Both players haven't looked that great. But we do know that both have made significant impacts on both teams before. Pearson being a pretty decent scorer, as well as Hagelin being pretty decent, but also having an impact on the Pittsburgh Penguins' 2 Stanley Cups. The recent ones, of course, the HBK line, very huge in Pittsburgh for their cup runs. But this deal, like I said, to me, it makes sense. So if we're looking at Hagelin, he's going to be bringing speed to the LA Kings. Now, this was something that was mentioned on Hockey Central at noon. I seen a quick clip that when he was originally acquired by Pittsburgh, Hagelin was brought on to be a speed guy to be able to help the Penguins, and it did work. So he is 30 years old, and he is coming off of his contract will be expiring at the end of this year, and I think that's why Pittsburgh moved him, because Pearson is also younger, like by 3 years, I believe, and he's got a couple years left on his deal. So Pearson is locked in at that 3.75. So that's good for Pittsburgh. But getting back to Hagelin, last night, the LA Kings looked really bad against the Toronto Maple Leafs. They're a very slow team. It seemed like every time Kapanen was on the ice, he was beating every player to the puck, and that, that goes for like Marner and Marlowe even, at that age still. His speed is still one of the bigger parts of his games, but the Kings just looked really slow. They're a league worst right now. They're at the bottom of the league, I believe, and they needed to make something happen. And of course, Pittsburgh still wants to be a cup contender this year. And as I'm sure LA wanted to at least be in the conversation because they made some, bigger moves like getting Kovalchuk. But Pittsburgh needed to make something happen. They don't want to lose. They have a great team. They've got a great core. Of course, when you start off with guys like Crosby, Malkin, and Kessel, you got Letang on that back end. Murray, who is still has 2 cups, who could easily go on another hot streak. You got to make something happen, and unfortunately that means losing a guy like Hagelin, who has struggled this year but could make an impact on the LA team enough where they could trade him at the deadline, because it's not looking like LA looks like a really good team unless something they all pick up and keep going and play much better. But with Quick being out for a couple more weeks, Campbell being out for a while now, they've really had some injury trouble, and their play on the ice hasn't been good. Pearson, he's put up some pretty decent seasons. He's had a 24-goal season before. If he clicks in Pittsburgh with some of their good centermen, this deal could be very good for the Penguins. Now, like I did mention, if Hagelin does good with LA, that means they could flip him at the deadline. They could acquire something pretty good. But with Pearson here, he's coming to a team where he could really light it up if he gets back on track. And I can't remember, I've seen some tweets talking about underlying numbers and how this might just be a bump for Pearson and that he may really break out. Well, I'm not saying he's going to be like some crazy goal scorer, but with Pittsburgh, you could at least turn your game around really quick. We've seen it before, and this is no disrespect to Hagelin, but I feel like the upside in this trade benefits the Penguins more, as they are the better team by far, and they do have the chance at going towards the Stanley Cup. But looking at Hagelin's numbers this year, 16 games played, 3 points. Not exactly what you want from that guy. You want speed, you want... again, but he is a good penalty killer. He's proven that he can do that. He's very fast, like I mentioned a billion times already. But he is a good defensive type of forward as well. He can back check really well. And, you know, he had 30 points last year, 31 points. You know, he had 22 in 61 games the year before. He can put up a decent amount of points. So if he can find something, at least the Kings may have a trading chip towards the deadline if they feel like, you know, they're not a playoff contender, because at this point they don't look like it. When it comes to Pearson, 40 points last year in 82 games. He can definitely step it up and get some points. And the year before that, he had 44. So, you know, he is younger. Like I said, yeah, he's 26. So the age gap is like 40 years. Depending on their birthdays, it could be like 3.5 or whatever. But, you know, the difference is Pittsburgh gets a guy who's locked in for a couple years. You don't have to worry about him being a UFA. He's still pretty young. You know, generally you like a player by now to be, you know, kind of getting into his prime and whatnot. But if Pearson can, you know, play pretty well, this could be a good player for the Penguins in the next couple years. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Again, just a quick discussion on a quick trade between the Penguins and the Kings. Who do you guys think won? I guess there's no clear-cut winner, but I would say the upside is better for the Penguins just because he's locked in, and I'm not sure if Hagelin will want to stick around with the Kings because, you know, if he does get traded as well, obviously then the Kings could acquire a piece and it could look decent for them as well, depending on how good Hagelin plays. But I'm going to give this one to the Penguins. There's so much we could talk about for this, but we'll let it play out for a couple weeks. Maybe we'll come back to it. If you're new, make sure you subscribe. Love to have more hockey conversations with you. Join the squad. Let's get to 4,000 subscribers. Thank you all. To all the new people coming in and subscribing. I appreciate it. Make sure to click that notification bell so that way you're notified for all videos and streams. I'll see you guys in the next video or stream. Peace.